Hello guys, welcome to another edition of Microsoft Excel Learn with Reader. And then in this class, I'm going to be taking you through how you can get to explore your data, and then how you can play and clean, and how to use the Power Query, how to use the pivot table in Microsoft Excel. So in this class, firstly, there is something that you guys need to know. There is a platform in Microsoft Excel, or like an interface we call the Power Query, which is like an extension of Microsoft Excel. We use it to uh, or let me say it helps to clean our data, and then it helps to make our analysis even more faster before we even get to the Excel worksheet. So uh, in Excel, we have different ways by which we can get our data into the Microsoft Excel before we can start our report, our analysis, and so on. Say, for example, one of the ways is to come to our file and then, open our data. So when we come to open, we can browse through uh, our local file, so we can get to choose any of the data that we want to work on. So we should click on any of them and then open. Then we can get the exact data that we want to work on into our Excel worksheet. But say, for example, you want to get your data cleaned, and then you want to do some number formatting, sorting, then filtering before you even get it to the Excel worksheet. So this is where the Power Query comes in. We use the Power Query to you can use the Power Query to clean your data before even getting into the Microsoft Excel worksheet. So how do we go about that? Uh, by default, you have your home page. I mean, in your ribbon, your by default you have it on home. So now let us go to data. And when we get to data, we have this a lot of options. Then we have the get external data. We want to we have get external data. We have from access. If you are into or you have access database in your system, and then you have a data that is already being collected or worked on, so you can get to like import the data from your access database. Well, from web, if you have a website or a URL link where you can get or extract your data from, or scrap the data from the web. So we can also use Excel to do web scraping, get your data directly from the web and then import it or put it directly into your Microsoft Excel worksheet. We have from text. So, for example, if your data is in text format, you can still get it into Microsoft Excel. And then we have from other sources, you can select all other sources that you might be having. We have the SQL Server from analysis service, from OData data feed. We have from XML data import. We have from data connection wizard. We have from Microsoft Crane. So depending on the source of your data, that is where you're going to um, choose where your data is coming from, because Microsoft Excel have all this extension, and then immediately you use this external data sources. Immediately you connect it with your Microsoft Excel. Excel establish a kind of connection which can get the data interpreted into the kind of data that you want that Microsoft Excel actually supports. So now we have another one here. We have new query. If you want your data to start from the scratch, you want to clean your data before even getting it to Microsoft Excel, this is where Power Query starts from. So we have different options. Where do you want your data to come in from? Is it from file? If it is from file, is it an Excel file? Is it CSV file? Is it XML? Is it text? Is it from folder? So you can get to explore your data from the file or from database. We have different database here. We have the SQL Server. If you have SQL Server in your system, and then you have a database that is already been created, you can import the table down to the Microsoft Excel. You can connect Microsoft Excel and Microsoft SQL Server. Then there's going to be some kind of relationship where Microsoft Excel can reach the tables and then import it to the Excel worksheet. Then we have from Access Database, from SQL Server Analysis Service, database from Oracle, from IBM, from MySQL, from PostgreSQL, from Symebase, from Teradata. So we have all of them. We have from Azure. If your data is from Azure, maybe from cloud, from anywhere, you can see now from Azure SQL database, from Azure HD Insight, from Azure block storage, from Azure table storage, depending on where your data is from. It can also be from online services. Is it any of these online services, or from other sources? Is it from web? Is it from SharePoint? Is it from OData? Is it from Adobe? Is it from Active Directory? Is it from Microsoft Exchange? Is it from ODBC? Is it from BlackQuery? Then there's something we call combined combination of queries where you can get to merge or merge your queries together or append your queries. But as far as this class is concerned, we are going to be focusing on getting our file, an Excel file from the local directory, and then importing it into the Power Query before getting our final data that we actually want into the Microsoft Excel worksheet. So say now we click on the from Microsoft Excel workbook. This is going to take me to my local file where I can select the data that I want to work with. Then immediately I select that, what is going to happen is that it takes it into the Power Query platform where I can work on my data. So I have this. This is my local directory. This is my local file. Then I can decide to say, so for example, I want to work on this. Then I import. So this is going to take some minutes because Excel has to establish a connection between that file and then bringing it to the Microsoft Excel worksheet. Now, I have these options. We have this table. In this file, we have these tables. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tables inside this file. So you can now get to choose which of the table do you actually want in your Microsoft Excel worksheet. Do you want everything to go there? Do you just want only one? Do you just want to work with one of them? Or do you want all of them to be in your Microsoft Excel worksheet? But as far as this class is concerned, I want just this table to come to my Microsoft Excel so that you can see. And then from here, you can just go to, you can try to load your data if you are not having anything to do. If you are very sure that your data is clean, this is still a dirty data. We have to make sure we clean the data before getting into the Microsoft Excel worksheet. So it can come to your transform data because we need to transform the data. We need to clean it more like we have a dirty plant that we just harvested. So we have to wash it. We have to like maybe dry it or some other stuff that we might want to do. So this is the same thing we are doing with this data. We find out that this data is dirty, then we have to clean it up. So now we are now in the Power Query editor. You can see Power Query editor more like the Microsoft Excel interface, but kindly different in some way, or let me say very different to Excel because here you don't have this direct opportunity. I mean the full authority or the control over the cells where you can easily interact with the cell. It is quite different from Microsoft Excel worksheet. So we have this in the Power Query now. You can see all our data. The table has been imported into the Power Query. Now, what do we have to do? You can see this column empty, useless, nothing, doing nothing. We have this column doing nothing. We have this column, this column. We are not in need of this column. So what do? We remove the column. This is where cleaning starts from. Before we even get it to Microsoft Excel, we want to take away on the data that we are not in need of. We want to clean off the data that we think that are useless or that we think that we are not going to be in need of uh, in our worksheet. So click on the data. You can remove column or remove columns. You can see here remove columns. So we have the 15, column 15 has been removed. Can select this and then remove the columns. So I selected three of them using holding my control. When you click on a column, then hold your control and click on another. It's going to be selected. Click on another. It's going to be selected. If whatever that you want to do with them, you can do it with it. So now we are done with one of the cleaning process. We've taken away the columns that we are not in need of. You can see now we have this column that we think okay, this is what we need. Now we there are different ways, just like in our Microsoft Excel worksheets, the interface, you can get to format whatever data that you have. Say, for example, you can say you want to format the date, you want to change the way the date is appearing. When you click on the date, you can say, come to, so when you click on the date, you can decide to change the type of data, the way the date is. If you don't want the date type to be in that form, you can come right to where you're having the calendar, you can see something like a small calendar. Then you can, you know, change the type of date, the date format that you want. If you only want date, if you want date and time, if you want just time, if you want date, time, and time zone, depending on however you want your data to be, you can say I want date and time. You can say date and time is popping up. So if you say you don't want date and time, you can come here, then choose wherever, however you want your data to be. Okay, I want just date. So you can replace the current query that you have. So different ways by which you can actually, transform your data or clean your data. So now, say for example, the unit sold. Okay, the unit price. Say we want to make it in currency. We want to change it to a currency. Now, what do we have to do? Just click on where you're adding the numbers, then choose the currency, and then immediately you can see now this column has been changed to currency. Now all these columns are now having currency. So that means we have the unit price to now be in currency. So uh, you can still do number formatting. You can format, you can sort, just like everything that we've been doing in the Microsoft Excel, using the Microsoft Excel interface. You can get to work on or transform or anyhow that you want your data to be. You can still go find your way through that. So the same thing, you can try it for the unit cost, you can try for the total revenue, the total cost, the total profit, depending on however you want it to be. So now, if you don't really have anything that you still want to do with your data, say you're not interested in sorting, if you want to assign, if you want to sort your data, say you want to sort ascending order or descending order, you can get to choose however you want it to be. Say, for example, ascending order. So immediately you are done with this, and then you can say, but if you still have some other things, say for example, your data is still not clean enough. Say where you get your data from, the data is very dirty, happens to be very dirty, and then you still need to work more on it. So you can use the Power Query platform to get to clean your data however you want it to be. Then immediately you are done, you can come here, you can close it. When you close it, this is going to close your query editor, and then you're going to go to it's going to import the data that you have already into your Microsoft Excel worksheet. But if you don't want it, just want it to close and load to, you can decide to like specify where you want the data to load to. So now since we are done, we're just going to use the close and load. So close and load, and then it's going to load it into your Microsoft Excel worksheet. So we're waiting for that to happen. It takes some minute. So yeah, we have 5,000 rows loaded. So uh, you're not interested in that anymore. So now we have the data. Now you can see that all the changes that we made in the Power Query is going to be affected. It's going to be affected here. We have the item type that is sorted in ascending order. The only thing that is not working here is the price that we actually stated, because it was not well defined. So we can use the Microsoft Excel interface here to now the unit sold, the unit price. So you can use your control shift down to put the select all the rows that you have there, and then choose the currency that you want. Control shift down, then right click it. I mean, use your right arrow, and then you specify. I want all of them to be in currency, so all of them are in dollars. Then you can decide to reduce the decimal that you are having at the end of each of them. So decrease the decimal. You can see, you can get to do the same thing for this column. So as well, I want to decrease the decimal. Now I have it, right? So this is how you get to use your Power Query. You can get to exploit even more than we've done in this class. But that is how basically that is how the Power Query works. So use it to clean up your data, and then when you are done, you just pack it all and then put it in your Microsoft Excel worksheet. So now using the pivot table, this is one of the most important aspects in Microsoft Excel if you are going to be based on analysis, maybe business analysis, financial analysis, or whatever calculations or big analysis that you want to make. And you can still get to use the power chart, the pivot chart to visualize whatever calculation that you made in using your the pivot table. So now, how do we use the pivot table in Microsoft Excel? So make sure you click on any of the data, and then you go to your insert. Then you can see right here you have the pivot table. So just select the pivot table, and then you have option. This is the table range. This is the name of the data. The table, we have the 5,000 sales record. That is the name of this data. So now we have, choose where you want the pivot table replaced. Is it on a new worksheet, or you have an existing worksheet where you want it to be? If you are selecting an existing worksheet, then you have to like provide the location where you want the pivot table to appear on. So since we don't have any, we are going to be working on new worksheets, and then we press OK. Immediately you press OK, you can see now we have a pivot table on another worksheet. A new worksheet 3 was created for the report, where we are going to be building our report. Now, how do you use the pivot table? There are different ways, many ways, and you are going to find the pivot table very interesting and very interactive, because it gets to like analyze big data, and then some big and difficult analysis. You can just push it to the pivot table, and then what is going to happen is going to be surprising. So let's see how does that work. Say for example, we want to know the total generated revenue in each of the regions that is in the data. So now we can select the region. Immediately I select the region. You can see the regions that we have in that data are popping up. So we have it there, the Asia, Australia, and Oceania. We have Central America and Caribbean. We have Europe. We have the Middle East, and then the North Africa. We have the North America. We have the Sub-Saharan Africa. So now let's say we want to know the total revenue generated in each of this region. So just click on the region, then click on the total revenue, and then all of that is going to be calculated for you. You don't need to start doing it one after the other or anyhow. So all you have to do is just make sure that there are fields here that you need to understand. We have the filter field, we have the column, we have the rows, we have the values. Make sure that mathematical or numerical data are placed in the values, and then while the categorical data are in rows or columns. So say for example, you can drag these rows into the column, then you are still going to have something similar. It's just that one is going to be in column, one is going to be in row. So now Asia, this is it. Australia and Oceania, this is it. So we have all of them. Just that one is going to be in form of column, one is going to be in rows. There's not much difference. The only difference is just the arrangement. And most of the time, the rows is usually it's mostly used. So you can change all this into currency. That's the main currency. Now this is the total sum of total revenue that we generated in each of the region. So now, what if you want to do something else? This is one of the mistakes that most people make. When immediately you click outside the box of this is the pivot table, this is the report, this is where we are having a report. So immediately you click outside the report field, you are going to have the pivot field list disappear. And then what most people do is that they now go to the data and then create another pivot table, which is not advisable, because sometimes you need to like create a lot of reports in your private in your pivot table. So the easiest way to do that is make sure just copy this data, this report that you are having, highlight it. Make sure you are highlighting everything, then copy. Immediately you copy, come down here and then paste. You can see it, right? So now immediately you paste it. Now, since we are working on this pivot table, this is one, this is two, this is another pivot table. So now you can now change this one to whatever you want. Say I don't want region, I want sales channel. I want to know how much I generated through the sales channel. So now you can see in this sales channel, offline, I made this particular amount. Online, I made this particular amount, and this is the total. So the same thing, I can still go ahead and then still say paste again. So if I should paste that, I still have another report. I have another pivot report where I can work on. I can say, okay, I want to know the percentage. Say, for example, I have seen the regions. I've seen the sales that they make, but I'm interested in seeing the percentage and not the and not the sales amount. I want to say the percentage as well. So total revenue that is there, still go ahead and then paste, drag another total revenue here. Now we have two total revenue. This is total revenue one, this is total revenue two. Now the two, we want to manipulate it, we want to make it in percentage. So now you can see when you come to your data, the sum of total revenue, you can see it drop down here, right here, right? So click on it and then value feed setting. You want to change the value feed, you want to manipulate the value feed. So click on the value feed and then you can see sometimes you might say, okay, I'm not interested in the sum. I want it to summarize as count, or I want to know the average. What is the average sales that we make in each of the region? You can use this. What is the maximum sale that we make in a particular region? What is the minimum? You can still say the product depending, and then we have some mathematical functions. We have a lot of them. So now let's say this is if you want to summarize, if you want to like add or look for average, minimum, maximum, and so on. But say for example, you want to show the value as you are not summarizing, you are not you just want to show the data in another form. So you can show value as, come here, and then we can see we have a lot of options as percentage. Now, let's say for example, I want the percentage of grand total. So click on it, percentage of grand total, and select OK. Immediately I select OK, then this is going to calculate it in percentage. So looking from here, we can see 25%, which is like in Europe, and then you can see from the amounts from the sales, you can see that it has the highest generated revenue. So this is also one of the ways by which we can get to play around our pivot table. Paste it again. Say I want to know the top 10 sales from each of the country. Select the country, select the region. I'm not interested in the region now, and then the total revenue is selected. Now, if you should see, we have a lot of countries, a whole lot of countries. I think about 185 countries. So, how do we get to say I don't want all this country? I just need it because of the uh, uh, you know, because of the state of the data, because of the way the countries are merged. I don't want all of them to be showing. So just right click on any of the data. When you right click on them, you have a lot of options coming right to you. Then I can say I want to filter. I want to filter this data. How do you want it filtered? Do you want to keep only selected items? Is it that I'm going to select the items myself and then I want it to be showing only the selected item? Or I want it to hide the item that I've selected? Or do I want to filter by country? Then yes, this is what I want. I want to filter by top 10. I want to know the top 10 country items by sales, by total revenue that generated. Yes, this is what I'm after. I want to see the top 10. You can change this. You can say I want the top 5. You can see it, right? You can say I want the top 20 or the top 30, depending on however you want it. But I'm interested in top 10. So click on OK. Then if you come down, you can see now I have the top 10 sales. So these are the top 10 sales in for this product. So this is also one of the way by which you can get to like manipulate your data. You can still sort. Say you want to sort maybe an ascending order, or just select one of them and sort. Can sort from A to Z, can sort from Z to A, depending on however you want it to be. So this is one of the way that we can get to use the Power Query, use the pivot table. There are still a lot of ways by which you can still go about manipulating your your pivot table. I'll still do one more example. So let's copy this as well, then paste it right here. Say I want to know how much sales that I generated in each year. So the total revenue that I generated in each of the years. Now I want to see that. If you are looking at the data at this data, so going by the nature or the data type, there is no year, right? So there is no column here that is having year. There is no field that is having year. But there is a way that you can create year. How do you do that? You look for the data that is having years. So date, yes, other date is going to be it is a date. You have to look for a date format, a date data, a data that is having date with it. So we have other dates. Now pick your other date and then put it in the rows. Immediately you drop it in the rows, you're going to see the hierarchy, you're going to see date hierarchy. It's going to split it into days, months, quarters, and then years for you. Let's drop this and see. Can see, right? Immediately I drop it, I'm having a lot of options. I dropped only other dates, but now this is breaking it is breaking it down into date hierarchies for me. So I can say I'm not interested in the other date anymore. I cannot get to say, do I want it quarters? Do I want to know how much I generated in each quarters? Or I just want to see how much I generated in each years. I'm only interested in the year, so I'm still going to take away the quarters, remove it, then I have just years now. Now drag it down a bit, now we can see, right? We have 2010. This is how much I generated in 2010, in 2011, in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 16, 17, and then now I still have the grand total. So this is just some of the ways by which we can explore our data, make analysis, make report, and use our data anyhow we want it to be. So this is actually very interesting, and it makes your works very easier and faster. And one more thing I'm just going to do here before we call it a day for this session is how you can still use your chart. You can still uh, use your chart in Microsoft Excel. Using the pivot table, you can still get to use your chart to see how each of these data differs from each other using visuals. So same way you can come to insert, then come to if it is this that you're interested in, if it is any other thing that you're interested in, depending on the kind of chart that that you want to use. So you can say, I want this. So when you choose this, you can take away the field list, the field buttons on the chart. So hide all field buttons because we are not interested. So we can say take away the grid lines, I'm not interested. Take away the legend, I'm not interested. I can say, can delete this, I'm not interested to as well. But if I should take that away, then what is this telling me? What is the data label? So I can add the data label, and then you can see that right there. So uh, depending on however you want it, we can change the data formatting because we have decimal there. So uh, you can format your data series, yeah, and then format the data label is going to give you another option, a feed as well, where you can get to like manipulate your data. So we have numbers here, you can see, and you can now get to use however or manipulate around your data the way you want it. So I selected number, and then I don't want it to be decimal, just select zero. So it's taking away the decimal for me. Now I can name, I can give it a title. Say this is revenue generated by year. So this is it. I've generated this. If this is an assignment, then I'm done. And then you can still get to format your bars. Say you don't want all of them to be the same color. So you can say come to fill, then give this one solid color, and then change color. I want this color for this. Select this bar, then give it another color. Give it another color, something different. So select another bar, give it another color that is also different. Yes. Select this one, and also as well give it something different. So depending on the color palette that you are working on or the kind of organization that you are working for, their choice of color will determine which type of color do you want to give to your data. So you just to your visual. So you just don't use any color anyhow. It has to, maybe depending on your company, or you have to make sure that you have a color palette that is very very beautiful, and then that it's going to like bring out the kind of data that you want to visualize. So I just selected these colors to show you how you can get to choose different kind of color for your chart. So um, so for this class, we are still going to be meeting for a lot more sessions. I'm still going to be release another session on maybe using the power pivot, and then how to still use some DAX function, advanced DAX function in Microsoft Excel, and how we can work with a lot of data. Say if you have Excel worksheets, the worksheet in Microsoft Excel is just about 1 million plus. How can you confirm that? Hold your control and press down. You can see this is the last row that we are having in Microsoft Excel. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is just some rows over 1 million that we are having in Microsoft Excel. So now, let's say, for example, you have data that are millions, you want to work with 2 million rows of data, you want to work with 5 million rows of data. How can you do that in Microsoft Excel? Where can we do that? How can we get to, explore, use the pivot table? How can we use the platform so that we can make analysis and report? Or do we have to like get to another tool because Microsoft Excel is not up to that kind of rows? We don't have they cannot accommodate a lot of numbers like that. So all these are going to be analyzed and are going to be explained in the next video that we are going to be releasing. So thank you for your time. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at IBN underscore WITTIG, and then at Learn with Twitter on Twitter. And then don't forget to also subscribe, turn on notification so that you can get updates on our next class. And have a good day. And don't forget, practice.